everyone, Jared Sandler along with Ryan Blake. It's another episode of Who Gives a Flip, where we talk to you about our wheelings and dealings with Longhorn Investments and try and provide you with a little bit of education on the real estate investing process, hard money, whether it's with Longhorn or just hard money in general. I've been doing this now for, 7 years. You've been doing this for about the same time, but you've also experienced this through other lenses as an investor yourself. So between the two of us, we feel like we've got a lot of good experience. And I think one of the things we want to talk about today, right, the different products that Longhorn offers, but just the different products as well, kind of that might be out there for investors to consider.
Yeah. I mean, first we'll start with, I didn't get the message about Casual Tuesday, but that's cool.
Every day is Casual Tuesday for me.
Thank you for dressing to impress. Yeah, so we offer a lot of different loan products, and in general, all lenders will have different loan products. At Longhorn, we really have kind of a core 4 loans, which is great. The first one being our low interest product. That's going to be where we still offer our 100% financing, which we're kind of known for. So it's 100% loan to cost, up to 75% loan to value. It's 70% if you're doing a flip, 75% if you're going to be doing keeping the property as a rental. We do require that you show us that you can get refinanced via a pre-approval letter.
And quickly, loan to cost for people who don't know what that means. We get an appraisal. The ARV will determine a future value, a subject to value based on the work you're going to do. We'll do 75% of the ARV for rental, 70 for flip. So if the ARV is $200,000, we'll lend you up to $150,000 for a rental, up to $140,000 for a flip. Right? The math. 200,000 ARV. I did, yeah. 75% of 200 is 150. 70% of 200 is 140. So loan to cost. I get a lot of people who get confused with loan to value versus loan to cost. Yeah. That's what loan to cost is.
Well, loan to cost would be...
That's what loan to value is. Loan to value. I just got confused about it.
It happens.
Yeah.
So loan to cost being, the cost of the project. We consider the cost those hard costs. Hard costs are your purchase price and your rehab. So we're not going to lend more than the purchase price and the rehab because we are capped at 100% of those costs. But like you were saying, the loan to value that up to 75%. You showed your math skills there. It's quite impressive. But yeah, so we will go up to 75% of that after repair value loan to value.
You got to know, 300,000 ARV, what's 75%?
75, that's 220.
Okay.
225.
225.
210
and then
if we're down at 70.
Okay. All right. See, like those round numbers we can do.
Yeah.
Now 301. Yeah. No shot. Give me the calculator. Okay. So that's the product that Longhorn has had since
day one, I think.
Yeah. I mean, and certainly since we've been around and before. I think what's cool is that product list has evolved, and I think any good lender does this.
Yeah.
But you kind of roll with the times and you figure out what is going to best serve your customers.
So something else that we now offer is if you don't want the 100% down, let's say maybe you're sitting on a pile of cash. Your rich uncle died, rest in peace, but he left you a bunch of money. So you don't need the financing for all 100%. And the rest of the money is just sitting in the bank earning 2% interest or something. Well, you can actually put 10% down. We'll fund the other 90% of the costs. Again, cost being purchase price and rehab. But in exchange for you bringing 10% down, we drop our rates substantially. And so now you're going to have lower interest and lower points. I mean, it's a pretty good deal versus just having that money sitting aside, earning that 2% interest.
I'm curious how many investors or, from our standpoint, borrowers, if you do like a Venn diagram, would be deciding between which route to take as opposed to being very clear, this is what I need or this is what I want versus this is what I want. And I guess, and I'm talking about the difference between the 100% program versus the 90% program that you just mentioned. Because like you said, if you're sitting there with a lot of money and you don't necessarily care so much about having the lowest cash to close figure, well, then maybe the 90% program makes more sense. And the one thing that I think it's important for borrowers to understand, or investors, when you're bringing money down, that's not a sunk cost. that's money, that's equity you're gaining on the property. So when you do sell it, if it is a flip, you don't have to worry about paying that part of it back, right? So
Exactly.
it's not money that you're just throwing away and never seeing again. Now there are some people who either they're trying to do lots of deals, or maybe to do one deal they need to limit cash to close, or for whatever reason they want the lowest cash to close number. Well, then the 100% program is probably going to make more sense. But the one downside for that, for the person who maybe has the choice, is, well, with the lower interest and the lower points on the other program, that's money that you're not making back, right? It's an expense. It's a fee, however you want to characterize it. So yeah, if you're just trying to do one deal and you got $150,000 in the bank, I don't know how many kids, what expenses you might have, but maybe the 90% program does make more sense for you.
Or when I talk to people, because so many people come to me and they're like, hey, Ryan, I want to accelerate my lending or my investing. So how can I do that? And I always tell them, like, hey, tap the brakes. You're getting ready to do your first deal. Let's do one.
Yeah.
And at least get it on market before you start jumping to the second, because you need to learn to walk before you start running. And so maybe for your first deal, you need a lender like us that has options to grow with you. And that's what I love about Longhorn, is we can grow with the investor. So the investor can come in, take advantage of the lower interest, lower points, and put 10% down because they know they're only doing one deal. But they don't want to have that money invest in the stock market or somewhere else where it's more difficult to pull from. Mm-hmm. So they put it into this deal, and then when they're done with that deal, now they have even more money, their profit plus they get their 10% back, that equity back, and now they can do 2 deals at a time with us without having to put 10% down, maybe even 3 deals, because now they know how to do it, they know how to invest, and they're ready to add jet fuel onto their investing by utilizing our 100% loan to cost.
And I'd say could even be the reverse. It could be the flip here on who gives a flip. What if, hey, it's my first deal, I only have X dollars in the bank, I need that 100%. Yeah. Hey, successful deal, I've profited Y dollars, now I can afford the 10% down. Now I can then go the path of lower interest, so yeah, and that's a good point. And not that I think anyone was thinking they'd be locked into one program for eternity, but yeah, you can bounce around based on what that year looks like for you. Maybe this year you want to do 3 deals, but then maybe the next year you only want to do 1. So, this program makes sense today, that one makes sense tomorrow. The flexibility, I think, is always really important.
And the whole fact that not just do we have those different flexible options, we have our loyalty program.
Yeah.
Once you do 3 loans with us, whether it's 90% loan to cost or 100% loan to cost, we drop our rates. And so you get even better deals. So the nice thing is, before we had the 90% deal, people maybe would have to go somewhere else if they want to get those lower points. Now we offer it all in-house. That way we can offer that to the borrower at the beginning, and then they can move to that 100% financing when they really want to accelerate, and they get our loyalty pricing. It's great.
Now, something that's not really in that same, we talked about programs that all could kind of be under the same umbrella, but some people like new construction. That's a totally different ballgame, right? There's some investors who have no interest in ever venturing over to that side. We have other investors who feel like they graduate from the existing assets and they want to get into new construction. We got a pretty competitive program there as well.
We do. It is a little bit more difficult because this is one where we require that prior experience. What we don't want is we don't want an investor who's never taken on a full new build. Even if you've done an extensive rehab, new build is a whole different beast. You have to go through not just city permitting, but you have to go through the architectural drawings. You have to go through detailed specs on your systems to be able to get to the permitting office, to be able to get the final plans approved, and then to actually start building. And you're getting tags along the way. You have all these inspections going on. It is a lot of work, and that is why we require that the borrower has 2 prior new builds with them as an investor, not just the builder. Some people come to me and be like, oh, my builder's got experience. Yeah, but your builder didn't have to manage the money. They didn't have to manage the, pre-work that goes into it. They didn't have to manage the post-work of actually trying to get it sold. They didn't have to manage the warranties that you're required to give as a new home builder. Something to look up. Every state is a little bit different in the required warranties that you offer as a new home builder. And so because of that, we don't just want a builder to have experience. We want the investor to have the experience because it's their name on the line. It's their money on the line. We want to see that they've done it before or that they are partnering with someone who has done it before so that they can get that experience.
Yeah, it's not a question of whether or not we feel confident that the builder knows what he or she is doing. It's whether or not you are equipped to manage the process. Because, hey, for every builder who is going to be holding your hand and truly is a great partner, there might be a builder who, when stuff gets hard, well, I'm going to kind of duck out and I'm not, hey, not my problem, right? And we can't possibly know how everyone is going to behave in every single situation. And so it's for protection. Now, in order to get those 2 deals of experience, you got to find a lender who will work with you as a first timer, and then we'd love to work with you. But all these things, it's not mom and dad trying to punish for the sake of punishing or have these guideposts in place for no reason. It's we don't want you, the borrower, to fall on your face because and we talk about it all the time. You and I, if one of our borrowers defaults on a loan, it doesn't impact our credit, doesn't impact our bank accounts, right? We might lose sleep over it because we care, and hopefully our borrowers feel that from us, because that's why we use the term consultant, not loan originator, because we kind of want to be a part of the process and help you. But your life totally changes, you as the borrower who defaults. So when we say that, we don't want to do this for this reason, we don't make money as a company by not doing deals. We don't, no doesn't help us do deals, but no does help our bottom line sometimes. And it helps your bottom line as well, because sometimes no is what you need to hear to avoid falling into a trap.
Yeah,
New construction has a lot more traps than an existing asset project.
Yeah. And I mean, going back to it, when people say, "Oh, hey, my builder has experience," well, yeah, I hope.
Yeah, I would hope so.
I hope you're using a builder that has experience. Great. We love that you're using a builder that has experience, but we want to know that you are ready for the whole project. And on top of that, like you were saying, with new construction, we require a 10% down payment. So right away up front, you are putting money down. We'll help with the acquisition of the land. We'll obviously help with the build, but we require that you put 10% down. And the whole reason for that is because we need you to be invested in this project. We need you to be getting it from beginning to end. Yeah, great. The profits can be high, especially when you're looking at it as a gross margin on your profit. The problem is with new construction, it's a lot longer of a process. You're holding it a lot longer, which means the market cycles are going to affect you a lot more. With a fix and flip, you're in and out pretty quick. So the market cycles don't have time to adjust. When you're talking new construction, you have to deal and anticipate what's going to happen in the market not 3 months from now. That's a little bit easier to see. You have to anticipate what's going to happen in the market 9 months from now when I'm actually selling, because with a lot of cities, from when you buy the land to when you're selling, it's easily going to be 9 months.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ballgame. And so that's why we want to make sure that the investor's ready for it. We as Longhorn Investments, we win when the borrower wins. We lose when the borrower loses. Yeah. And so we want to make sure that we're in a win-win relationship with that borrower and that they are set up. I mean, we write almost 2,000 loans a year. So we've seen a thing or two. A lot of these borrowers that come to us have done 5 deals. Well, we've seen a lot more deals just in the last year, just in the last month, than they've ever seen in their lifetime. And so we kind of know what to look for. We know those pitfalls. That's like what you said. That's what makes us loan consultants. We are here to consult because we have the ability to look at such a large sample size of deals going on.
All right, the final one is something that's a little bit newer on our end. Some hard money lenders offer this sort of program, others don't, but a DSCR program. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. So this is going to be a loan that is going to be based on what you plan to get on rents or what your actual signed contract is for. You always are going to get a better deal if you already have a lease, I said contract, lease in place. and it's going to be what your lease is versus your debt service coverage ratio. So the debt service. So your debt service is going to be your principal, your interest, your taxes, and insurance. Obviously, you have other expenses that are going to go into your rental, like your maintenance, your maybe property management fee, those sort of things. Those aren't part of this ratio. They just want to see typically that you are covering all of your debt service with your loan. That ratio changes from time to time. For a while, it was 1.1%, so you need to have essentially 10% more in rent than what your debt service is. Sometimes,
So if your debt service is $1,000, you need to have $1,100 in rent.
Math whiz. I'm
Got
sitting across from a math genius.
Yeah, I mean, I did finish runner up in third grade multiplication tables. So,
congratulations.
Thanks. I still have the ribbon somewhere.
Producer like that one.
Yeah.
Thanks, MP. But yeah, so exactly. And then, but sometimes it might even be only 0.9%. There's some times where you'll actually be able to be below the debt service with your rents. It just kind of depends what the market needs. So that is one big difference from the hard money, everything we've talked about. That money is all coming from our fund, and it's our investors that kind of set the rates. And it becomes a little more static. Whereas with debt service coverage ratio loans, these long-term 30-year loans, so these are long-term loans, because they're sold on the secondary market, it's market-driven rates. And so the interest rate's going to change a lot more frequently. The debt service coverage ratio, that actual ratio, is going to change a lot more frequently. Sometimes that is also going to affect your origination points. So it is going to change a little bit more. So you do need to make sure that you're updating and talking with your loan consultant to make sure you know what the current rates are, but also know that if this is right as you're getting into a deal, those rates may be different 2 months from now when you're actually getting ready to refi. So you have to be able to move and adjust as the market moves and adjusts.
Well, there you go. Those are our programs, and those are some of the programs that are out there. 100% program. Not many lenders have this. It's something that we do. The 90% program Ryan talked about, that's something that you might see out there from other lenders, something where you're going to have to bring some money or some percentage down, but perhaps in exchange for lower points or interest. We've got the new construction program and the DSCR program if you want to hold on to that property long term. If you have any questions about any of this, you can reach out to us, Blake at longhorninvestments.com, Sandler at longhorninvestments.com. We'd love to work with you on your next deal. All right, there you go. Who gives a flip, huh?
Who gives a flip?
There you go. Another episode of Who Gives a Flip in the books. Thanks to our super triple executive producer, Michael Prager. For Ryan, I'm Jared. We'll talk to you next time.